Hello.
Hello, welcome all. I am your host, Bryson Scott, and all month we will be highlighting and showcasing some of our own local AI artists and art exhibition vision and voices, unearthing Black brilliance. For our itinerary, we have here today Dr. Ramona Wiggins. Next week, Dr. Robert O'Keefe Hassel. The following week, Dr. Denise Malloy. And last but not least, your own host, want you to welcome you to our art exhibit, our art park, our art podcast, and just welcoming all connoisseurs, creatives, generators to the threshold of perception, the gateway to blackness and its creativity and imaginative curiosity. Here today, we will dive into the minds of the creators, dissect the autonomy of their masterpieces, and trace the invisible threads that bind the canvas to the humane cosmos. In our interview, we will peel back the curtains of the unseen, explore the hidden dimensions of Black art, and dive into the new paradigm of Black art and creativity. Now, I want to welcome our first guest and our first artist, Dr. Ramona Wiggins.
Hello, everyone, and thank you.
She will be presenting and showcasing her own words of wisdom. Hello, Dr. Ramona Wiggins. Do you have anything that you want to say or share before we get started?
Oh, no, I'm just, thank you for having this event. I really appreciate you actually inviting me. I want to thank the TSU Smart Center for doing all the great things that you're doing regarding innovation and technology. So thank you to Dr. Chisholm and her team. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our art gallery is centered around innovation. It is centered around unpeeling Black brilliance, getting that for the forefront, getting into the forefront of Black art and Black creativity, not only using AI, but technologies as well. Can you open up or share a brief introduction about yourself and your artistic practice?
Yes, I am Ramona Wiggins. I work in a graduate school as a director, but I'm also a freelance photographer, and I've been doing it for at least 20 years. And so I was invited by the College of Ed to teach some classes. So I'm an adjunct professor who actually teach creative concepts in technology. And so that's how I got involved with the AI and just trying to learn more about how to be innovative for our students so that we can stay relevant, so that they can stay ahead of the game. But as a
Right, and
photographer,
that's
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. Right, that's all it's about. Making sure they're exposed to a lot of different avenues as far as career wise, hobby wise, and being productive in their day to day lives. I see that you have this PDF right here. Oh my goodness, I just looked through it and I'm looking at figure 10. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but figure 10 and figure 24, they're my favorite pieces right there. So I'm sorry to cut you off. My next question would be, what is the medium and what is the process like? Describe how you use your creativity in your creative process. Please describe that for me.
So I try to draw inspiration from my environment and themes that are going on, that are in season. Of course, this is Black History Month, and I like to use this opportunity to create a sense of belonging in using that concept so that everybody can feel validated and valued.
And does that mean like somebody seeing themselves in one of your pictures or in one of your exhibitions?
Yes. And so my thought process start, of course, brainstorming ideas with images that represent the culture. But I also want to create something that's meaningful and that portrays a positive image and perspective, and not allowing others to tell our stories, but we tell our own stories. And using AI
Right,
is an excellent tool to do that.
right. And like the main gateway that coming up with this gallery and this podcast was just to showcase our brilliance, not because we see a lot of our art being struggle art, right?
Right.
And that's the paradigm that the Smart Center is trying to shift away from and more into the innovative side more into the forward thinking side, more into the actually like being limitless, just being full of potential and possibilities. But yes, I love what you're hitting on because what does culture mean to you exactly when it
Well,
comes when it
culture
comes to
really, it actually means whatever's going on in your environment, and it's not monolithic. Everybody is just, everybody thinks differently, have their own stories to tell. Everybody has a story, and so it's important that when we tell these stories, that we're telling, that we're giving our own authentic truth, and so people can understand it. We don't have to. You don't look for culture in what you see on Facebook or any type of social media, and but we're and on the news. I mean, we need to be the ones being the autonomy over our own story. So culture is just everything around you. Of course, Nashville is known for Music City. However, which came from Fisk University, that name came from Fisk University. It's not country music. It's in Nashville. Is is so culture represents everything in your environment, how you're brought up, what you eat, how you look, how you dress, and so that can apply to anybody.
right, right. And I heard you say photography. I see a lot of your pictures. They like resemble like a load of photography. So, is that like one of your main sources of inspiration and sources of influence?
Yes, actually, of course, with AI, you can use different types of medium. You can do painting, airbrushing, watercolor. I've explored those, but I am a photographer, and I wanted to show people how you can create beautiful art with that medium as well,
Right,
other than just this paintings and things of that nature. But I draw inspiration from, as I'm doing photography, and as well as doing this piece right here. You have Gordon Parks, who was a 1940s or 1930s photographer. He worked for the federal government, going around taking images, shooting through the lens, showing people what he saw, which were candid images telling their stories of migrant people during the Depression. And Dorothy Lane done the same thing. So those are the ones that I draw inspiration from, as well as Bruce Tallerman. He was one of the photographers back in the early '60s, late '70s, who took pictures of Michael Jackson and all those photo albums that I mean, not photo albums, music albums that you bought. Those came from him. He took those pictures. So what he did was buy a camera and placed himself so he could be visible, and somebody recognized him, and that's how he got his start.
and I like how you like expressed that. I like how you're using different photographer names as points of references because not a lot of people know about artists in their field. And being that when people see this and when people see this podcast, they also have a frame of reference that they could also go look up, could study their art, and could incorporate some of that those concepts that they are learning from and incorporate it into their own creative processes and their own creative designs. And which brings me to your themes and ideas. Explain the theme and the ideas centered around your work, or something that you want to explore more into within your work.
So, with this artistic journey, I'm hoping I'm sending a powerful message. We are responsible for educating our people the truth about who they are, so that they have a better perspective of themselves. So, in other words, we need to be the author of our stories, and no one should have that. No one should have that authority over us. So, I'm using a concept of the principle of Kwanzaa, Kuji Chagulia, which means self determination in Swahili. So we would name ourselves, define ourselves, and create for ourselves. And so with this power, this in a world where words are powerful, they shape generations. So the voices of wisdom from the Black community have played a very instrumental role in inspiring change, promoting justice, and instilling hope. So through this
Right.
AI photo essay, I embark on a journey of honoring and amplifying the powerful voices of our renowned Black individuals who have left an indelible mark on our history.
Right. And I like how you're using not only your iconography, but I like how you're using those words to blend the two worlds because me, I'm a wordsmith. I love words And when I see words, I think of different worlds that I could dive into and get my idea and my creative thought process into those worlds, because worlds create worlds, and worlds create other worlds that you don't necessarily know about. And so just by knowing words and how to use words is very essential when you're shooting a message across, not only to the young generation, but to your generation and to the up and coming future generations as well. I like how you tackle not only just being a part of one generation, you're tackling the past, present, and the future generation. So that's great. Um, I love this work. It honestly is like telling me a story with not only art, AI art, but really photography, because I see the elements of your photography, how it dates back all the way to like the Renaissance and how it's progressing each generation into the generation of now. I see this young girl on the piano, and that's dope to me. Um, but I hear you share your intention, which is to educate and enhance the minds of the young generation, and also keep the youthfulness of the older generation. I hear that, and that speaks, and that's the message that you want to convey. That's more so like one of my messages and some of my pieces that I am trying to convey myself, not only reaching just to my generation, but across the globe and across the span of generations. So, how do you make your artwork, and why do you make your artwork?
I start by brainstorming anything that's again, whatever's going on in the moment. It could be for this one, probably I was thinking, oh, how would an African American Shirley Temple look? I love Shirley Temple growing up, and so of course I created. You just ask. It's a prompt. It's called prompt engineering, but in Mid Journey they ask you to imagine. So imagine how we would have looked in the 1920s or the 1930s during that time, and I just go from there. And it could, again, I use photography, but I also used different styles of painting. So for one example, you grew up, you saw this painting of Blue Boy. Blue Boy is a Renaissance painting created by Thomas Gainsborough back in, I think, the late 1700s, early 1800s. So imagine what that would look like if it was an African American person during that time. How would they look? And
Right,
people love to see themselves in images, and representation matters. And
right.
so, like for one of this image, this is my daughter. This is not my daughter. Anyway, her favorite color is yellow. So when she's with her friends, I love to see her happy. I love to see her smiling, and I know yellow actually brings that out in her. So
Mhm.
that's where this came from. Just seeing her with her friends, laughing and joking and telling stuff that they don't want me to hear. It's probably why they were laughing. But I just created an image just to represent her and
Okay,
represent young ladies, and of course the color purple reminded us of how important it is to have a sisterhood, to have a bond, and that's where this inspiration came from. Alice Walker's Color Purple.
that's lovely right there. When I see this picture, I wonder what is the thought process behind it. Like, what does it look like? Well, really, most of your pictures as well. I know is photography is like a huge radius that you use, but like, what is the thought process look behind? Like, are you incorporating how you're feeling, or what are your like? Are you trying to get a message across? Of course, that, but just like
Little,
really generalizing it.
a little of both. You're always trying to. I can be a little political. I try not to be. I try to promote positivity
Mhm.
and to give a positive perspective. Like you said, I love what you all are doing instead of always dwelling on all the horrible things that happen in African American history. Let's look at some of the great things, and let's look how we can move forward. Not move forward, but I mean, of course, it's still in the back of our heads and it's going to continue. But let's still give people a positive perspective. And so my thought process is really, I could see something, I can watch a movie and like, let me create something, or I could hear something on the news, or what's going on, what's the theme of the month. I think we just got over Christmas, so I created some Christmas pictures during during the holiday season. fall festival. I create pictures that represent the fall. If it's a festival going on in Nashville, the Bonnaroo Festival. Oh, I had a ball with that, creating images of rock stars taking selfies. So it just depends on what's going on. I don't. I mean, I do this every day. I mean, it's not a day that goes by that I don't go out there and just try to create something just to pass the time. But I just really enjoy doing it.
And I understand you on that level because me, when I speak about my creative process, I'm just all over the place. Not all over the place, but I'm really more so in tune into what I'm surrounded by, and I use those as leverage. I can take any idea from that source, and then I can implement it into my artwork. And I'm constantly thinking of new ideas to put out there because it's just like art is very subjective, and it's like a world of its own. It is a world, honestly. When you speak about art, not only are you speaking about just art, but you're speaking about the experiences of people. And I love people. I value people a lot because that's who make your work. Um, and so not more about me. I'll say that for later. But I see that you have quotes centered at the bottom of your artwork. What are your favorite two quotes that you can really live by and live day to day on?
Dr. Mae Jemison quoted, "Never be limited by other people's imagination." Of course, she's one of the first African American women who went to NASA, and so I like that quote. So you don't allow other people to limit you. And June Jordan, she said, "We're the ones we've been waiting for." So I like her quote because I mean, who what are we? Why are we waiting on others to validate us? We can validate ourselves.
Right. And we could tell our own truth, honestly. Um,
Yes.
when I think about imagination and the imaginative faculties of the mind, I think about how we are living in our ancestors' imagination. Like they imagine the things that we're doing now. They
Mhm.
imagine themselves in doing that, but we are actually living out their dreams. So how does that fuel you as an artist? How does that fuel you?
I totally agree. We are living out their dreams, and I always try to create something that really people that they can see themselves in and share with others. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Okay, okay. I'm loving this podcast setup and how it's going. It's very it's very intuitive. It don't feel awkward. It doesn't feel um kind of scary. It's more so like it has a natural flow to it, and that's what I
Mhm.
like about doing this stuff like this. So talk about your journey, like how you became from a novice to a more knowledgeable person that you are now.
Well, the journey started. Are you speaking of AI or photography or art? The
Uh,
journey.
blend them all.
Okay, yeah, art photography started was I started doing that a long time ago. I had a 110 camera and I used to take pictures of just whatever, and I thought it was cool. I drove people nuts taking pictures, and so when it came out with a digital camera, and see, this is probably before you were born. I'm a senior citizen, so talking about um, antiques. A 110 camera was an antique camera, probably in your world. But when they came out with digital photography, I'm like, oh, cool! I don't have to waste so much film on pictures. I can just delete what I don't like. But I've been doing this actually on the professional side for at least 20 years. But I've always loved art. I took commercial art in school. I used to work for a print shop. In the graduate school, I also have to create flyers. So this tool is not just the AI tool is just not for me to be creating art just to be having fun, but I actually use it. I use it in my practical job to create flyers because they don't can't find images that represent us or the culture that we serve. So I use it for that. But I started the AI. What is that? Oh, I started the AI journey in November of 2022 when your department, the National Smart Center, had the HBCUC Squared, that department under the umbrella of the National Smart Center, used to host the lunch and learns or the 20-minute mentorship programs, and they had a guest, Donald Choate, who explained this new AI. He was all over my head anyway. He trying to explain the C++ and Python and Gaussian noise. I didn't understand a word he was saying, but then he showed an image. He said, "This is a picture of someone that does not exist," and I was like, "Whoa!" That he caught my attention, and so from that point on, Dr. Malloy was saying, "Hey, look what you can do. You can create images without even a camera." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" So we started exploring different apps that did it. One of the first ones is free now on Bing, called Dolly. I think it's Dolly 3 now. When I
Mm-hmm.
was using it was Dolly 2. And so they've come a long way. They can create some beautiful images. So that's a tool that people can use now to actually go out there and have fun. But I like Midjourney because Midjourney has better aesthetics artistically than what Dolly. I probably shouldn't be saying it, but anyway, I like using it because I can create the images that I like to see. So,
Okay. Okay. So I hear you speak a lot about AI. Um, how did you leverage AI for your personal use?
well, actually, after that meeting in November, I continue to explore different apps. I mean, this one for a podcast. There's one for actually creating music. You can actually just, so I was actually exploring apps, sort of using it. And I was like, I wonder how many educators are using it. So I actually done my dissertation on AI usage in higher ed. And I wanted to get the faculty's perception on what they to actually see if they even knew what AI was,
Right.
and many of them still don't. So at the time I did my dissertation, half the people that I interviewed or done a survey with did not know what it is. So that's something that we need to really start training our faculty members on. So, but I actually use this as my dissertation research.
That's great. That's great. And being a lifelong learner, um,
That's you.
AI.
That is you.
I look good. I look good. Look at that. Look at that.
I saw it and I was like, oh, he reminds me of Bryson.
But yes, being a lifelong learner, um, how does AI benefit us? And how can we leverage not only to monetize off of it, but become producers of it and sit at the actual table, or create our own table with our own chairs and with our own food that we could actually produce and eat from? How important is that?
I think it's very important that we have a voice at the table, so that because we're often left out. HBCUs are often left out of these new technological innovations. So I thank God for Dr. Melton, who's
Me too.
always staying on top of what's relevant and what's going on regarding technology. So, but it's very important that, I mean, the world is continually evolving, and it's not going to stay the same. AI is here to stay, and so we need to at least learn how to use it and learn what it can do, and because it's not going anywhere, it's here,
Right.
and it can be very useful, not just with art, but I mean, I use it to create templates for emails and other things. So yes, I mean, it's a very useful tool, and it'll save you a whole lot of time.
Yes,
Once you
it
learn how to use it, it will save you a lot of time. So
it does. And going back to what you were saying about Dr. Robbie Melton, she is like, to me, I feel like she's like 15 right now because she knows about AI, and she knows like the levels of she knows about the graduated levels of how AI is leveraging itself, not only for our people, but um how it is transforming itself into like a enterprise thing, to where not only we are personally using it, but enterprises are using it, businesses are using this, and it's shaping the new age, the new paradigm for it to come. and she's on top of that. Like she
Right.
is a advocate that literally is stays young. I feel like she's immortalized already
Right.
because of how young she is mentally, and how she's able to check out this new technology and not be scared by it. So
Right.
I love her for that. She got me here doing this opportunity right here, right now. So and then this is something that I love too. I can do this all day, all night, and I can come up here and ask you questions after question after question, if you don't mind. But yes, just to like round it out or shorten it up, um, what is your core message to all generations across the globe and across the spans of age?
The core message is always try to learn something new, something different. AI is here to stay, and try to embrace it and use it to save time and be beneficial. So yeah, that's basically it. Just embrace it. Yeah, it can be anything new can be scary, but I'm sure when Ford bought created the first car, the horse and buggy. People who were using horses and buggies were probably upset, but technology is ever evolving.
Right.
Um, I, TSU is a place to learn more about what innovations are available and what's out there and what's relevant, so they can reach out if they need some assistance in learning this. But yeah, it's you can do a lot with it. You can make beautiful pieces of art with it. So try to embrace it. Do something good with it. Do something
Right.
important, and use it to empower others, to
Mhm.
uplift the community.
And that's the main like reason why artists make art, is just so that when you expressing and sharing your art, you making another person feel like they're not alone, and they can actually understand and comprehend your message and what you're feeling internally, and now that they can use that as leverage and use that as a reference point to start creating what they want to create. So I love art. Is our thing, and this is what we do. So I'm gonna pull up 4 images that you sent me, and I really want you to go in detail about why these images are some of your top favorites.
Okay, so he showed this earlier, and this is the one I was speaking of. She reminds me of Shirley Temple. I used to love some Shirley Temple, but you didn't
Me
see
too.
any curly head, cute little black girls running around um, on TV. So I wanted to see how this will look. I wanted to portray something positive doing that time. I think that was during the Depression days or whatever. So so I wanted to create something that young girls could see themselves as
Do
something
you
positive.
have you ever drunk a Shirley Temple? Because I know from the drink that's a drink, and I like Shirley Temples.
Okay, I forgot. I forgot. I'm a senior citizen. You don't know who Shirley Temple is and who I'm talking about. Shirley Temple, if you do Google her, she probably was a childhood star back in the early 30s, maybe 40s. I don't know. It was way before I was born, way before my parents used to watch Shirley Temple. And so um, that's where that image came from. It's funny. A drink. Oh wow.
Yes, they it's not like a drink, but it's like grenadine mixed with some Sprite, stir it up. You got your Shirley Temple right
It's some
there.
Sprite and Kool-Aid. I think that's
Hmm.
what it is. Okay.
Good. It's good.
Okay, now this reminds me when I created it of Josephine Baker. Of course, we're in the 20s. And so I wanted to create an image of the rolling 20s because the 20s have rolled back around. So this is that image. This is a Renaissance image of someone who can look like Josephine Baker.
Mhm.
And as you can see, um, I think it's a portrait, but it's a soft image that probably would have, if I'm trying to think what style of photography that would be, but it's probably a chroma. image of it's not full color, but I like that. So that it came, but the inspiration came from the Rolling Twenties and creating an African American woman who would look like that.
from the 20s. Yes, I
Mhm.
like how like it's blurred in the background to it. It gives it that real feel, like
Get that
as if
soft, yeah,
yeah,
soft effect.
yes, yeah. Then this next one right here. Oh, me.
Okay, that's you, Bryson. But no, seriously, when I created it, it was just I saw an image in the Ebony magazine. It was always this image of these little boys dressed up, standing in front of some old cars, and I think they may have been a prompt. And so it came up with this one, this young fellow in a suit. I think it was probably an Easter picture, and I wish I could find that image. Gordon Parks probably took the picture, but I wanted to replicate it. This looks more like a, what do you call that? A graphic novel image of a, again, representation matters. My grandkids are always having me buy these anime graphic novels, but you don't see too many African American people in those graphic novels. So I created one. So that's
Right.
where that came from.
Hmm. I love that because um, I'm more so preaching towards the youth, just so they could have a light mind and not so more a heavy mind to where they're um, living out in their trauma instead of their creativity. It's just a powerful message just to see themselves in a new light, in a new experience that they haven't experienced before that they can and place themselves in the near future.
Right. But yeah, I totally agree with that. And also, we're not always a product of our environment.
Wow,
I
thank
mean,
you.
I grew up in the hood. Probably know that. But anyway, I'm not a product of where I come from. And I'm proud of where I come from.
Me
And
too.
again, this one is to promote sisterhood and using the color yellow. My daughter, I'm telling you, when she's with her friends, she loves to laugh. Um, and so that's what this is. I like to see her smiling and laughing. I like to see anybody laughing and smiling. And it makes it just, yeah, creating a positive view of ourselves, of us just having fun. That's really what that is. Just promoting a sense of sisterhood.
And um,
Bryson, you froze. Are you okay?
I think he might have froze for a minute. That's okay. So we definitely want to thank Dr. Ramona for, or Dr. Wiggins, excuse me, for this amazing, amazing, amazing opportunity of really just coming out and sharing with us about what you've done with artificial intelligence, and how you've taken it. It's really, really good to see, like he said, you've taken it from a photographer standpoint and really seeing the opportunity with expanding your creativity, expanding your voice, expanding your vision through artificial intelligence. So I'm going to take this moment and wrap us up. I want to thank you for being our first artist to show your amazing work. We are going to have, as Bryson said, a variety of artists for the next 4 weeks to show their work for artificial intelligence, but you can come down to the Smart Innovation Technology Center. Dr. Ramona Wiggins' art is showcased throughout all of the rooms of the Smart Innovation Technology Center through this whole week. You can visit from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come down and spend time with us and see the amazing, amazing pieces. If you thought the pieces that you were seeing on the screen today were amazing, just see some of the awesome ones that she's done, particularly for this particular session. And then lastly, she will also be featured on March 1st. We're going to have a big reception, so she'll be featured there as well. And if you have your own specific questions and you want to talk with Dr. Wiggins in person, she will be in the Smart Center on Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. In our multimedia and podcasting lab to be able to answer questions and talk to you about her art. So I want to thank Dr. Wiggins once again for coming on, and have a great day.
Thank you, Marcus.
thank you. No, thank you.